I gotta be honest, Rio. That was a little bit rough reading that one right there.
Yeah, it was kind of rough following along with it.
Honestly, and it's like not even the content that I think was the rough part. The rough part was just some of the writing a little bit. Now, this was written back in, or at least it was posted. The earliest post I can find for this was in 2013. So again, it's been 10 years ago. So
at least,
yeah, at bare minimum, it's been 10 years. So the author did also state that it was their first creepypasta. So
which honestly, for a first time, it wasn't bad.
No,
it was just definitely more experience with the writing aspect of it.
Oh yes, yeah. Like I said, I didn't even think the content was necessarily that bad. I will say the suspension of disbelief with the whole reading two ROMs at the same time kind of went out the window a little bit. I do think that maybe nowadays the idea of like a cloud game or a game being streamed is not beyond the stretches of reality, but this was 10 years ago when this was written, so that kind of is not what they were implying at all. And again, it's confirmed to be an emulator, not like an official source or anything.
But I mean, again, if you're reading creepypasta.
Yeah, we're reading creepypastas. Your suspension of disbelief needs to be a little bit higher than average because these aren't meant to be taken as real. Just when they do try to rationalize things,
that was good.
Yeah,
Something.
Sometimes it's better to not rationalize because it's better to leave it to the audience's imagination. I actually would kind of like to see this done as like a fan mod. Like it actually doesn't even sound that bad. Like a Halloween mod of Mega Man X. That does sound pretty fun to read through.
That'd be pretty sick, yeah.
Yeah, I will say it wasn't quite like Blood Whistle bad. I don't know if you ever read that one. It's an old Super Mario 3 creepypasta where it's like blood everywhere. Literally, the ocean is blood. That kind of thing. It didn't quite get to that levels, but they talk about that the water in Launch Octopus stage is red. It kind of gave me that kind of vibe. It was like, that could be easily be done in a ROM hack, just swap the palette. I've done that with like Game Boy Advance games back in the day, so a ROM hack like this could exist, theoretically speaking, but it's just the acquisition was not very well done. But again, on the whole, I don't think that the content itself was super terrible for the time. And again, you read these for fun. You don't really read these to like actually get scared, I don't think. But the hardest part that I was having reading this was the sentence structure is what needed the most work. There are some times when I feel like broad vocabulary probably should have been used. Like there was one sentence toward the end talking about Boomer Kawanger where I think the word start was used like 4 or 5 times in the same big run-on sentence. And
I was like, you could say begin.
You're right?
Commence.
Things like that, yeah.
I will say, I kind of have a hope that person continued making creepypasta because, again, for a first time, it wasn't bad. It had a sense of structure to it. It wasn't just like edge from start to finish and nothing but. So with some practice on sentence structure and stuff like that, I feel like they could have probably done some really cool stuff.
And I will say, yes, there was progression through the story. So I'm not going to say it was exactly a 3-act structure, but I will say there was an element of suspense because when the player realizes everything is already destroyed, am I following someone doing this? Like, am I coming behind someone finishing the job? And it turns out Boomer Kawanger is the one behind it all. I'm not sure why they chose Boomer Kawanger specifically, unless that's just their favorite Maverick, which can't fault him for that. He's got a wicked design.
He low-key looks the most villainous, in my opinion.
He does. I mean, lore aside, dialogue aside, and like character mannerisms from other media aside, yes, Kawanger definitely looks the most villainous. One thing that is just, it's a cliche, and I just gotta nitpick this one just a little bit just because it's funny. The only weapon to change its color was Fire Wave because it's red. And red is just a recurring color in not only this creepypasta, but in every creepypasta. And I will admit, getting, like, repeatedly saying red oil instead of robot blood was a little bit tedious. I get that it's a different medium. They're robots, not humans, not organic, so it's not blood, but it's the stand-in. So again, visually and from a content standpoint, if this were like a fan mod or a creepy ROM hack, again, it's actually not even really that bad. It's just how the writing itself of how the story was presented is what I had the biggest problem with here. But that's pretty much all I got to say. You got anything else to add?
No, that's it.
So yeah, that was the first creepypasta on our little mini marathon here, MetaMan M Passcode of Horror. So yeah, first attempt by the user, I believe their name was Metaluigi, and again, we hope they went on to do bigger and better things. Have potential, just need to work on actually the writing aspect of it a little bit, because honestly, it wasn't even really that bad. But yeah, So we're going to keep this rolling, and we'll see you guys next time. This has been Blake Cross EXE.
And MeoG 42.
Part of Flash and Blaze Productions with our little Mega Man Creepypasta Marathon. And tune in next time. Peace out.
Peace.